Let's jump into the book of Revelation. You have heard them coming on television and telling you about the book of Revelation. There's going to be fire on the earth, there's going to be wars, and a third of the people are going to get killed, and all of this horror is going to happen, and it's a lie. Everything that you hear from Christian preachers about Revelation and God pouring out his wrath on the earth is a lie. And the reason that they tell you that is because they are reading the book literally. And if there is one book that is filled with mysticism and symbolism, it's the book of Revelation. And the book of Revelation is simply a description of the warfare and the anger and the hostility that goes on within you, and it shows you how God is actually, through your communion with him in meditation, going to send the purging fire, which is the Spirit, down into your body to get rid of all of the things which are trying to hurt you. In other words, this is, the book of Revelation is God's fury let out against the human mind and the evil that comes out of the mind, and it's simply put into operation as soon as you say yes to Jesus Christ and obey him by going into meditation. The only way you can say yes to Jesus Christ is to obey him by going into meditation, because Jesus Christ says, "What do you call me, Lord?" and not do the things that I tell you to do. Right? Right. Let's look together at Revelation 9, and there's really something interesting I want to share with you. Revelation 9, "And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit." Now this is, the star is a divine spark. Okay, this is what you've been going to church all of your life to have happen. A divine spark to come down within you that is actually cosmic, that's universal, that's God. I mean, it's not Baptist or Methodist or whatever they are. This is a universal God that is in every human being on the face of the earth. That's what Paul says about Christ. Christ is in everybody. You can't walk an aisle or invite Christ into your heart because he's already there. He's inviting you into his. That's the difference, and that's the point that people miss. But look here, that to this divine spark that comes down within you is given the key to the bottomless pit. Wow. Do you know what the bottomless pit is? The bottomless pit is within you, and the bottomless pit is simply your human desire. There is no end to our desires to have things. There is no satisfying our urges, whether they're physical, whether they're sexual, whether they're urges to have things. You know, you get a car, and it's a nice car, and oh, isn't this a hotsy-totsy car? And then 6 months, it's a piece of junk. You don't want it anymore because you don't like the way it turns. You don't like this. The ashtrays are filled. You got to get rid of it. You get another car, and then you get a house, and this is the most beautiful house. This is a castle. And a year later, it's too small, and you're knocking walls down, and you've got termites. You don't want it anymore, and you go on, and it never stops. And that's the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is simply the fact that no matter how much is poured into humankind, the desire for more never, ever stops. There's no satisfying human beings. So finally, when this divine spark arrives in our consciousness, the pit is open and all the garbage comes pouring out. Do you remember back in Matthew 8, I don't know if you remember this, but back in Matthew 8, Jesus comes into a graveyard. And there it says, two come out of the tombs filled with demons. You know what that is? It has nothing about people coming out of the tombs. I mean, it's a symbolic story. It doesn't mean Jesus walked into a graveyard, two guys run out of a grave. It's talking about when Christ comes into your mind, when Christ comes into your higher consciousness, he forces out those thoughts of evil and those hurts which are embedded into your subconscious and are causing you all of your fear and all of your hurt. These are the things that have hurt you. These are the things that have kept you from being what you could be. These are the things that get you in trouble. One of the great psychiatrists, probably one of the greatest of all times, is a fellow named Carl Jung. And Carl Jung said, even as a child, you can pick up something and it embeds itself into your subconscious and you don't even know it's there, and it literally raises hell with you the rest of your life. You don't know why you have these outbursts. You don't know why you have this feeling. You don't know why it is you just want to get away from everybody, that you can't stand life. But it is because of something hidden in your subconscious that you don't even know is there, and it is torturing you to death. That's why psychiatrists take people into their office. They lay on the couch and talk and talk and talk and talk, because he's trying finally to get at the root, to get deep down into that pit and set you free from that which is wrecking you. You can pay thousands to go to a psychiatrist, or you can obey Jesus Christ and go to the upper room of divine meditation and accomplish the same thing. See, that's where religion gets so screwed up. They tell you to do this and they tell you to do that, and you shouldn't do this and you should do that, and but they never stop to think, what about your mind? What about your mind? What about your subconscious? Most religious people don't even know you've got a subconscious. And yet that can be the root of all of the problems. And here it is graphically described in Revelation 9:1. When you, through meditation, raise yourself to God, God sends the divine spark, which finally takes the lid off of the subconscious and lets out all of this demonic garbage that's in there in the way of thoughts and things that are nurturing themselves and coming against your life. Isn't that terrific? It should be. So finally this lid is lifted, and these nightmares and these thoughts which have been accusing you are flushed out. Now look at something interesting. Revelation 9:2, when they open the top of this bottomless pit, in other words, when this place of desire is finally opened within your subconscious, out comes smoke. And it says the smoke darkened the sun and the air. Now again, we have mystical terms. The smoke comes out of the pit, or the subconscious, that lower part of the human mind. And what that smoke does, what does smoke do? Smoke gets in your eyes. Smoke makes it so you can't see. Smoke clouds. Oh, there's so much smoke, I can't see anything. It's exactly what this is saying. You can't see God. You can't really understand why you're even on this planet. You can't understand what life is all about because you're blinded by the smoke or the confusion that comes out of the subconscious. That's why Jesus says they look and look, but they don't see. You know, you're groping through the smoke. They listen and listen, but they don't hear. They don't understand. That's the endless desire. That's the bottomless pit. That's what keeps you ignorant of God's presence within you. That's why you're going to church and sitting with your arms folded singing Amazing Grace when you should be going within yourself and raising yourself to the higher temple, up to the right hemisphere of the brain, and being filled with the cosmic universal presence of Christ within you. Now notice that the smoke blocked out the sun. That means it blocked out God. You can't see God. You don't even know God. You can't even conceive. All you know that God is something that's going to happen after you get done on this earth. What are you here for then? You know, this earth to most Christians is a bus stop. They hang around here, they get in a little trouble, and finally they died. Nobody knows they were here. They never found out anything. And they gave money to church, and so what? They missed everything. And not only does it block the sun, look at it, so it blocks the air. See, Revelation 9:2, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke and the pit. Now we know that the smoke is a symbol of that which is the confusion that comes out of the mind that blocks your understanding that God is within you, that Christ is really within you. But it also blocks the air. Air is a mystical term. Please get this straight. You have Christians who honestly believe that the rapture means they're going to go flying up into the sky because it says you're going to rise to meet Christ in the air. That is hogwash. It is nonsense. It is a lie. It is stupid. Nobody's going to go anywhere because you got the law of gravity, and if you do take off, don't take off near Kennedy Airport or you'll have a collide with one of the 747s and cause an accident. Now that's how stupid it is. Listen, Greek mythology, Greek understanding, Greek consciousness. Greek says there are 5 levels of consciousness. The first is earth, which is your lower carnal consciousness. The second is water, which is the enlightened carnal consciousness. The third is air, which is the place above human thought. The fourth is fire, which is the place of the spirit. And the fifth is the renewal of the mind of the presence of God. That's in Greek. That's why it's in the book. That says the air was darkened. When you say that you are going to rise and meet Jesus in the air, it means you are going to lift your consciousness in meditation above the thoughts of the mind to the third level, which is air, or the place that is not filled with human thought. That is why Jesus Christ said 5 times in Matthew 6, take no thought, take no thought, take no thought, take no thought, take no thought. He said it right after he said, if your eye be single, your body will fill with light, which means rising in meditation above the thoughts of the human mind. So here then we find that the confusion that comes out of religion, the confusion that comes out of study, and the confusion that comes out of preachers, the confusion that comes out of people telling you this and telling you that, The bottomless pit of your own physical desires raises the smoke. You cannot see God because you don't even know God is inside of your consciousness. And two, you'll never ever be able to raise yourself to meet God because you're blinded by the smoke and not even knowing what air is within you, what the place of God's creative power is, basically, to rise and meet Him in a higher developing consciousness within you. Now, interestingly enough, too, it says here that there come out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given the powers that scorpions have. Well, what do locusts do? Also coming out of this pit, we see that the smoke come out, which is the confusion, out of the place of your desires. It's got you so screwed up and confused you don't even know where God is. Okay? But now we've got locusts. What do locusts do? Locusts eat that which is growing within you, that which is good, the wheat, the bread, the understanding, those ideas, those desires of life for God, those things which are starting to grow are devoured by the locusts. In other words, your desire to please. You may say, well, I don't have desires. I have desires for God. I'll tell you what you got. You got desires to please your pastor. You've got desires to please the people in the church. You've got desires to please everybody around you. See? And all of these desires get in your way of absolutely obeying Jesus Christ and ascending into total nothingness, where there is that place of air and that place of communion. And that's the locust, because the locust will come and he'll snatch away and he'll eat everything that is growing within you, that'll take you closer to the cosmic and universal God presence within you. Do you understand now why John the Baptist ate locusts? Because the locusts are the symbol of those things that devour the God ideas that are growing in your mind. And John is one who leads people to Christ. Ate locusts symbolically. That meant that he devoured the devourer. He ate up that which was trying to destroy you. Once the locusts are devoured, then those seeds can grow, the wheat can grow within you, you can strengthen yourself, and then when the smoke clears, you find within yourself is the kingdom of God, right where Jesus Christ said it was all the time. Now, look what it says here. It says in Revelation 9:3 that unto them was given the power as scorpions have on the earth. What power do scorpions have? Well, the bottomless pit is the place of endless desire. In the zodiac, what sign is the desire nature prominent? Scorpio. Scorpio is the sign of desire. There is a fellow by the name of John Jocelyn. I'm going to recommend something to you. A lot of you folks are interested in getting the, about the zodiac in the Bible, because the Bible is filled with zodiacal references. The whole Bible is made up of it. The 12 disciples, the 12 apostles, the 12 gates to the city. Jacob's sons and daughter were named after the zodiac. The whole thing is filled with it. In Job 38 it says, can you bring forth Mazzaroth out of season? Mazzaroth means the zodiac. John Jocelyn, I want you to write down a book that you should get. It's called Meditation on the Signs of the Zodiac, and it's written by a fellow named John Jocelyn, Jocelyn. He's since died. But he takes each sign from a Christian perspective and tells you what spiritually that means. I mean, for God's sakes, folks, Christians are afraid of the zodiac. Do you realize that God painted a picture of Jesus Christ in the heavens, and it's called the man carrying the pitcher of water? That's Christ, pouring water, pouring truth out of all over the whole earth. Do you realize that? That's Christ, and people are afraid to look at it because their churches tell them this is evil. Why is it evil? Because it's been prostituted into fortune-telling and astrology and all of that stuff. That's not the zodiac. Do you realize also that as you sit and we talk about the picture of the man carrying a pitcher of water, there is also a picture painted in the heavens of the Virgin, Virgo. That's the virgin consciousness within you, and she's holding a shaft of wheat in her arms, and you see it on Christmas cards. She's holding the bread of life, which is the Christ. See, these things are very important for you to understand. And they fulfill themselves throughout the entire Bible. They surround the Christ. They are the 12 disciples surrounding the Christ. They're the 12 apostles. They're the 12 gates of the city. That's why Jesus Christ is the Son of God, literally that which is the light of the world in the center, surrounded by these 12 signs, surrounded by the 12 disciples. So John Jocelyn takes this, which is Scorpio or scorpion, and he says here, as he describes this, here is the field of feeling and desire, Scorpio. That mighty battlefield where the lower desires related to the senses and the lower nature struggle with incessant intensity until at last divine desire overcomes. At that point, the scorpion becomes the eagle. That's the point here. That's why this book of Revelation is so exciting. It's not talking about God destroying the earth. It's talking about God destroying the things that are destroying you. It's really God's warfare coming to bring you unto him. Not just a handful of Protestants who are going to fly up to the moon somewhere, but this is everybody on the face of the earth who will be set free when they follow Christ and enter into... Well, I was kind of just sharing that along with you. And boy, these are rich times, aren't they? The new age, and a beautiful age of oneness for the environment, for the animals, for the dolphins, for the children. A oneness of mind and purpose. If you'd like to get a little more information about this work and this new age as it relates to the Bible, that's, I think, the interesting part. The telephone number is 609, area code 609-971-0537. And if you call, we'll send you the information. I'm so excited about being able to share these things with you. The divisions that we've seen through the years, ever since, I guess, you and I have been around, nothing but wars and competition and fear. The attacks against the environment and against the animals, against children. War, obviously, is not the answer. Neither is separation of people. A oneness through meditation and through the Bible, because the Bible teaches these principles, the hidden meanings. So if you'd like to get more information, you can pick up the phone and call. The area code is 609-971-0537. That's 609-971-0537. You can call now or call at the end of the show. Really good to be with you. Let's get back and see what the rest of this is about, okay? Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. The source of the problems of your family relations, of your school, of your job, and it is the bottomless pit of your own human desire. Your own human desire. And here, finally, God's power, which is represented by an angel. An angel just means a messenger of God. God's spark coming down from your higher consciousness within your very being, unlooses this, which is the subconscious, and lets loose all of this, which has been hidden in your deepest subconscious, and destroying you. You know, there's another interesting thing in the Bible. If you look at back into in Revelation, Revelation 8, verse 10, and it talks about a star. This is another star called Wormwood, which fell. Now, this wormwood means bitter, and this falls into the waters, and what it's saying is that as you start allowing yourself to drift into carnal consciousness and get away from meditation, the waters, which is the truth within you, become polluted. And then when that pollution starts, it becomes polluted by the thoughts of the lower mind, the lies of the lower mind, which put you into stress and depression and anxiety and all of these strains. And then there is this wormwood. And it says, and the name of the star is called Wormwood, and the waters became wormwood because they were bitter. And this is God simply saying to you that if you allow your energy no longer to drift into thoughtless meditation in the higher consciousness, but dwell in the lower carnal consciousness, what happens to you? Your whole existence becomes bitter. You become bitter against your family. You become bitter against your parents. You become bitter against church, bitter against the government, bitter against everybody. You want no part of anything. And it's all because of the suggestions that have been placed into your mind, the thoughts that you conjure up in your mind. All of these things would come up through the subconscious and create a tremendous bitterness. Well, back in Exodus, something very interesting happens. In Exodus 15, the children of Israel, it's actually in Exodus 15:23, the children of Israel are coming across the desert, and they come to this place of water, and they can't drink the water because it's bitter. And the name of the place is called Marah, M-A-R-A-H. Now, a lot of people will tell you, well, you better stay away from that stuff because there's Hindus in there, and that's Eastern philosophies and all of that. Do you know, in the Bible, in Exodus 15:23, it says the children of Israel could not drink the water because it was bitter, so they called the water Marah, M-A-R-A-H. In Hindu, the name of the devil, or Satan, is Mara, M-A-R-A-H. So here you have the name of the Hindu Satan being used by Moses and the children of Israel to describe the waters as being Mara. M-A-R-A-H. It's the same as wormwood in the book of Revelation. It all means the same. It means bitterness. And here in Exodus 15, it's telling you that the devil or Satan is not a person. It's not some thing lurking out in the cosmos somewhere, going around, frightening people. The devil or Satan is much more serious than that. The devil or Satan is your human mind. Your human carnal mind. And that's the source of bitterness. It's the source of cancer. It's the source of heart attacks. It's the source of arthritis and all of the diseases that we have. It is that which is fueled out of the lower mind of man. And it is identified as Mara, which means Satan. It is identified as wormwood, which means bitterness. One and of the same thing. But in Exodus 15, how is the bitterness taken away? I mean, folks, when you hear this, you've got to know this is symbolic. You can't take this stuff realistically or literally, or you're going to miss the whole thing. You talk about the hidden meanings in the Bible is what I'm trying to show you. How is this bitterness counteracted so that that which flows out of you is in harmony again and it's sweet? Well, in Exodus 15:24, it says God showed Moses a tree. And when he put the tree in the water became sweet. Mara disappeared. Don't you see? In Revelation, Jesus Christ says, to he that overcomes. In other words, he that comes over the thoughts of the carnal mind and raises to divine consciousness through meditation, I will give to eat of the fruit of the tree of life. It's the same thing. When you eat of the fruit of the tree of life, you are actually putting the tree, which is the higher consciousness, into this bitter water, which is Satan or the lower consciousness, and at that instant, what happens is there is a purging away of the bitterness in your life and in your soul, and a restoration of the sweetness and harmony for your health, for your family, and for understanding your place in God's universal cosmic plan and your life as you would like to have it and as God would like you to have it. Do you see? That's what happens. So bitterness comes out of the pit. It pollutes the water, which is the truth of your experience, making it a lie. It is called Mara, which means Satan in Hindu, and it's done in the Christian Bible. And it is purified when you enter by allowing the tree of life to touch